Subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon for the latest updates and notifications.
Hello everyone, I am conducting an investigation about a national park located in the southern part of California, USA, between the Mojave Desert and the Colorado Desert. It is called Joshua Tree National Park and covers an area of 3,200 square kilometers, larger than the smallest U.S. state, Rhode Island. The park gets its name from the abundant Joshua trees that grow there. Joshua trees are unique plants belonging to the agave family and can grow up to 15 meters tall. They are mainly found in the southwestern region of North America. Joshua Tree National Park is about a 2-hour drive from Los Angeles. Compared to other tourist destinations, it only attracts a small number of visitors due to its inherent dangers. The majority of the national park consists of an uninhabited desert landscape, with Joshua trees scattered throughout. There are at least 120 abandoned mines hidden in the area. Wildlife also emerges for foraging during the nighttime. It is one of the most mysterious places in the whole of California. The park offers various climbing routes of different difficulty levels, making it popular among climbing enthusiasts. It has gained a reputation in the industry and is suitable for climbing all year round. This place is definitely a paradise for adventure enthusiasts, where each experience has the potential to reveal new discoveries. Despite the fact that people go missing here every year, it still attracts many visitors who are drawn by its reputation. The protagonist of the story is named Bill Ewasko. He was born in 1944 and is an avid outdoor enthusiast with a spirit of adventure, particularly enjoying solo outdoor explorations. In his younger years, Bill served in the Vietnam War before transitioning to work in finance for several companies. Eventually, he climbed up the corporate ladder and became a chief financial officer. However, Bill wasn't satisfied with working for others, so he quit his job and ventured into entrepreneurship, becoming his own boss. At the age of 66, Bill's net worth exceeded $10 million. He had a girlfriend named Mary Winston, and the two lived in Atlanta, Georgia. Perhaps because both of them didn't want to be tied down by marriage, they had been in a relationship for many years without getting married. During their free time, they enjoyed traveling together. Bill had a strong passion for various outdoor activities and loved adventure, often seeking out challenging and hostile environments to test himself. In the summer of 2010, at the age of 66, Bill embarked on another adventurous journey. He planned to travel alone to Joshua Tree National Park in California for a week-long hiking trip. Although it wasn't his first time going there, his girlfriend Mary still felt somewhat worried. To ease her concerns, he promised to stay in contact with her through phone calls every day. However, as they say, the more you worry, the more likely it is to happen. This time, Bill encountered a mishap during his hiking adventure. On June 23, 2010, a Wednesday, Bill began his hiking journey. The western coastal region is influenced by a Mediterranean climate, with hot days and cool nights. He bid farewell to his girlfriend and left their home in Atlanta, then took a flight to California. Upon arriving in Los Angeles, Bill immediately called Mary to let her know he had arrived safely. He assured her that he had already purchased a return ticket for July 1st, a week later. After returning to Atlanta, he planned to take Mary on a vacation to Florida. In Los Angeles, Bill rented a white Chrysler car from a car rental company, and then stayed overnight in a local apartment. The next day, Bill woke up early. He embarked on his journey alone, driving the rented white Chrysler car toward Joshua Tree National Park, located 200 kilometers to the east. Around 8 o'clock in the morning, Bill passed through the California city of Palm Desert. He took out his phone and made 2 phone calls. The first call was to the manager of the Los Angeles apartment, informing them that he would be away for a few days, but would return to check out. The second call was to his girlfriend Mary, who was in Atlanta. Excitedly, Bill told her about his planned itinerary for the next few days. He mentioned wanting to visit several places within the national park, such as Carey Castle, Hidden Valley, and Indian Cove. Bill Ewasko informed Mary that his first stop would be Carey Castle, which was not an actual castle, but an abandoned miner's cabin located deep in the desert, built in the genie style. It was situated in a remote and rarely visited area on the southern edge of Joshua Tree National Park, and occasionally hikers would stay overnight at Kerry Castle. However, the park management strongly discouraged visitors from going to Kerry Castle due to its deteriorated condition and the risk of collapse. Mary was aware of the dangers associated with that place, so she was very worried. Bill kept reminding her over the phone to be cautious. To reassure Mary, Bill assured her that for the next few days, he would only be active during daylight hours and would not stay overnight in the national park. He also made a promise that on the first day, at 5 p.m., he would leave the park and head to the town of Pioneertown, located 25 kilometers northwest of the national park. He would call her from there to let her know he was safe. After finishing the call, Bill continued driving the car. Heading toward the direction of the national park, the car's journey quickly passed by. It was now 5 p.m., and Bill's girlfriend Mary was anxiously waiting for his phone call at home. However, the agreed-upon time had already passed, and Bill hadn't called her yet. Mary started to feel slightly uneasy, so she called Bill, but it went straight to voicemail after a beep. She tried multiple times, but the result was the same. Mary thought to herself that since Bill had promised to call at 5 p.m., he wouldn't easily break his word. Perhaps it was due to a poor cell phone signal that he couldn't reach her. Mary had to console herself with that thought. Joshua Tree National Park was vast and sparsely populated, and there were indeed many areas without signal coverage. As time passed, night gradually fell. Filled with a helpless sense of anxiety, Mary made necessary calls again, but no one answered. She felt she couldn't just sit there and avoid doing something she had to do. So she searched online and found a contact number for the management of Joshua Tree National Park, then dialed it. However, at that time, the office had already closed, and no one answered the call. And so, Mary spent the entire night tossing and turning, unable to sleep. The next morning at 8 a.m., Mary finally reached the contact number for the management of Joshua Tree National Park. She informed them that her boyfriend Bill had gone missing in the national park and requested their assistance in finding him. Upon learning about the situation, the park management immediately dispatched a team of rangers to Kerry Castle, the place where Bill was most likely to have gone. Upon arrival, they thoroughly searched both inside and outside Kerry Castle, but found no trace of Bill. The rangers noticed that the trail leading to Kerry Castle hadn't been visited for at least a week, leading them to suspect that Bill may not have actually been there. Bill was a highly organized person who rarely deviated from his planned destinations, making this situation highly unusual for him. The ranger team reported the situation at Kerry Castle to the park management. The person in charge of Joshua Tree National Park, named Dave Pileman, was 71 years old and had 19 years of experience in search and rescue operations when he was younger. Dave believed that cases of people going missing within Joshua Tree National Park were not uncommon, but most of them would be found within a short period of time. Dave tried to console Mary, Bill's girlfriend, by suggesting that Bill may have just gotten lost, aiming to provide her with comfort. However, Dave chose not to mention the unsettling possibility that people often went missing in the national park every year. The vast desert held numerous unknown dangers like deep pits and caves formed by geological activity. Carelessness could lead one to slip and fall into them. Climbing seemingly insignificant peaks within the park often took more than an hour. Most areas lacked development, signs and cellular reception, making it easy to get lost even with a map. Dave believed that Bill's solo venture into the park was highly perilous, especially considering the number of missing cases he encountered each year, often involving overconfident and reckless individuals. Upon discovering that Bill was a military veteran and an experienced hiker, Dave initially believed that Bill had merely become lost. However, as the hours passed, the ranger team uncovered valuable information from Mary. It became apparent that Bill had planned to visit over 20 destinations, including Kerry Castle, within a week. Unfortunately, he encountered trouble on the first day. Due to limited personnel, searching all these locations would be time-consuming. Recognizing the challenges, Dave, the head of the national park, took charge of organizing the search operation. He devised search routes, determined search areas, and promptly deployed search personnel. Despite the multiple entrances to Joshua Tree National Park lacking entry records, adventurers who prioritize safety often registered their information voluntarily. Perhaps out of confidence, Bill did not register when entering the national park. As a result, there was a possibility that Bill had not entered the national park at all. After an unsuccessful search, Dave, the head of the national park, immediately called the police for assistance. Upon receiving the report, the police arrived at the park's management office and began their investigation. They contacted Bill's girlfriend, Mary, and learned about Bill's activities on the day he went missing. The investigators first visited Bill's accommodation in Los Angeles. According to Mary, Bill was in good physical condition and did not exhibit any signs of distress. He had meticulously planned this short trip, and it was unlikely for him to go elsewhere instead of Joshua Tree National Park. In Bill's Los Angeles apartment, the investigators found several route maps drawn by Bill and a rental voucher for a Chrysler car. One of the route maps outlined Bill's itinerary for June 24th, indicating that he would spend almost the entire day in Joshua Tree National Park. According to the plan, Bill's first destination was Carey Castle, located in the southern part of the park, not far from his last known location. After contacting the authorities, Bill's intended route led him to the Sigma mine, situated 55 kilometers away in the northwest region of Joshua Tree National Park, toward Libya. His last phone call occurred 25 kilometers before reaching his planned first stop, Carey Castle. The distance between Carey Castle and Sigma mine was 50 kilometers, requiring passage through multiple valleys. The plan was for Bill to exit the park by 5 p.m. and proceed to Pioneer Town for dinner and lodging. However, there were no records of his expenses in town, suggesting he remained inside the park. The park management's search efforts yielded no evidence of Bill at Carey Castle, nor indications of any visitors at the location. If he didn't reach Carey Castle, he may have gone elsewhere. Bill had scheduled visits to other sites in the coming days, including the West Entrance Overlook, climbing spots, and Hidden Valley. Given his limited food and water supply, finding him promptly was of utmost importance. The police and park management joined forces, expanding the search area and combing through various parts of the national park for any sign of Bill. On June 26, 2 days after Bill went missing, at 7 p.m., the police's swift helicopter conducted a search along the Juniper Flags Road inside the national park. They discovered a white Chrysler car at the starting point of the road. There was a small parking lot at that location where many adventurers parked their cars before hiking to other parts of the national park. Officers arrived at the parking lot upon receiving the information. They found a row of footprints on the sandy ground outside the car, matching those of Bill's shoes. The parked cars were also rented from a Los Angeles rental company by Bill. The location was 55 kilometers away from Carey Castle. Through the car window, investigators observed a box of bottled water, maps, and other items inside. This confirmed that Bill indeed entered Joshua Tree National Park. He parked the car at the Juniper Flag starting point, and began his hike from there to explore the distances within the park on the day he went missing. At the Juniper Flag starting point, there was only one known visitor, a hiker named Greg Mendoza. According to Greg, he arrived at the parking lot at 10:20 a.m. that morning. After parking his car, Bill embarked on a hike and noticed he was the only vehicle and visitor present. Upon returning at 5:30 p.m., he was surprised to find a white Chrysler, which turned out to be his own car. This indicated that another vehicle had arrived after 10:20 a.m. At 8 a.m., Bill had a phone call with his girlfriend Mary in Palm Desert, leaving a 2.5-hour time gap. Although the drive from Palm Desert to Juniper Prescott takes just an hour, it remains unclear where he went in between. Dave, the national park's head, speculated on Bill's possible route and led the search team to Secure Mountains Viewpoint. Additional unofficial rescue teams established a temporary command post near affiliated spheroidal layer, gathering information and coordinating search efforts while ruling out previously searched areas. The ground search teams have collectively submitted GPS search tracks covering at least 1,200 kilometers. A mathematician named Burst Mandepo believes that the seemingly solid rock walls both inside and outside the national park are actually composed of large blocks of loose rocks, with hidden large cracks resembling rooms. Therefore, from this perspective, there are countless hidden spaces within the national park, and it is possible that Bill accidentally entered one of these concealed spaces. In the deserted desert, Bill, alone without food and water, would not be able to survive for long in such an extreme desert environment. It would be difficult for him to free himself solely by his own strength. 2 weeks after Bill's disappearance, the official search was called off, but unofficial searches continued. This included rescue expert Tom Mahmood, who had previously been in charge of search and rescue operations. In 2009, Tom and another searcher spent over a year exploring Death Valley and discovered the remains of 4 missing Germans. Tom, a true Californian, considered Joshua Tree National Park his backyard and knew its challenging nature. Despite its beauty, it was a desert wilderness, and even experienced adventurers like Tom approached it with caution. Regarding the disappearance of millionaire Bill, Tom believed that if Bill survived an accident, water would be crucial in the scorching desert. Bill, with survival skills, would likely seek higher ground for a better view and may find Smith Water Canyon, visible from a peak about 7 kilometers away. Tom believed that Bill might have gone to Smith Water Canyon to find water. The terrain from Safe Mountain to the canyon is extremely steep, requiring a treacherous downhill descent. Tom speculated that Bill might have encountered trouble midway. Previously, rescue personnel found Bill's red bandana on Safe Mountain, but this possibility was quickly ruled out. Tom and a friend teamed up and explored from the base of Safe Mountain to the bottom of Smith Water Canyon, then circled around the valley, but they found no trace of Bill ever being there. Next, Tom focused on Bill's last recorded cell phone signal. Tom speculated that Bill, realizing he was lost, immediately powered off his phone to conserve battery, and only turned it on when he felt it was appropriate to try and make contact. 3 days into his disappearance, he coincidentally connected to a signal tower in 4 Valleys, but the signal was too weak to make a call. As Tom delved into the investigation, he shared the information and speculations on a website he created for adventure enthusiasts to communicate and exchange rescue experiences. There are professionals with unique insights here, such as Mike Mason. He is a computer expert, and was once hailed as a prodigious programmer. He claimed to have collaborated with the government to develop a program for tracking mobile phones, which could convert raw phone data into graphical maps. The program utilized phone positioning and tower connections to calculate the approximate location of the phone user at a given time. Few people were interested in finding Bill, but he frequently left messages on the website, offering professional insights. Mason joined Tom's organized search operation in Joshua Tree National Park. Initially, no one doubted the authenticity of the last cell phone signal emitted by Bill. To verify its validity, Mason went to the cell phone signal tower near Natural Valley. The tower was 30 kilometers straight-line distance from the Float Road parking lot. No one believed that the tower could cover a range of approximately 17 kilometers. However, it was later discovered that the 17-kilometer coverage of the signal tower was just a theoretical value. The rugged terrain, various rock formations, and hot air within Joshua Tree National Park could potentially cause signal reflection and scattering. This implies that Bill's phone may have been located beyond the 17-kilometer range of the signal tower. No one expanded the search area. Mason, based on previous real cases of adventure disappearances, built a database containing 150,000 search and rescue cases. Using a data model, he made predictions about the places Bill might have visited, but the data model did not prove useful. Unofficial search teams conducted over 100 searches, but still couldn't find Bill. It was as if he had vanished into thin air. After 4 years of Bill's disappearance, when the case was covered by the media, it sparked a new wave of search efforts. Everyone wanted to know where Bill had gone. Some believed he had been murdered while hiking in the national park, being followed by someone who targeted him while he was driving. The perpetrator trailed him to the unknown starting point of Juniper Float Road. They allegedly killed Bill after he entered the national park and concealed his body. Others speculated that Bill never entered the national park and had been killed prior to his disappearance. The perpetrator observed Bill's rented car arrive at the Juniper Float Road parking lot in the national park, creating the illusion that Bill had been there. Some speculated that Bill might have unknowingly wandered into restricted zones. However, most internet users believed that Bill likely encountered an accident in an unexplored part of the park, such as falling from a cliff, getting trapped in rock crevices, or losing his way in abandoned mine shafts. Each year, Joshua Tree National Park sees approximately 57 disappearances, with most individuals eventually being found, although some remain missing. One such case involved Ed Rosenthal, a hiker of similar age to Bill, who vanished in the northwest Black Rock area in September 2010. After an intensive 6-day search, he was fortunately located. During his ordeal, Rosenthal consumed all his limited water supply within the first 2 days and relied on water from desert plants until his rescue. This incident occurred 3 months after Bill's disappearance. Adam Masland, a popular music producer, was highly interested in such events. In 2014, 4 years after Bill went missing, Masland went to Joshua Tree National Park to join other volunteers in the search for Bill. In an interview, he expressed his personal connection to the case and his desire to contribute to finding Bill. He utilized drones, infrared detectors, and other tools for the search. Initially, Masland considered the possibility that Bill's disappearance was a staged act, as he knew about Bill's company facing financial difficulties during the 2008 crisis. Bill had a whole box of purified water in the rental car, clearly prepared for a multi-day hiking trip. In his quest to uncover the truth behind Bill's disappearance, Masland repeatedly participated in search operations. He and his companions traversed through the desert, climbed various cliffs, and even ventured into some deep abandoned mine shafts. Masland speculated that Bill had likely abandoned his original plan to go to Kerry Castle, as Plato was chosen as the starting point for the hike. Bill packed a box of water in the car, taking out 2 bottles on the day of his hike, indicating his intention to embark on a short hike and return to the parking lot within a short period. As Bill hiked through the national park, he became captivated by the scenic views along the way. Instead of turning back when he realized he was getting farther from the starting point, he decided to continue forward. Before long, the beautiful Safety Mountain came into view. Bill planned to climb to the summit of Cloud's Rest to admire the scenery. Along the way, he caught a glimpse of Smith's Canyon, but his remaining water supply had already run out. He knew there must be water in Smith's Canyon. The journey from Safety Mountain to Smith's Canyon was 5 kilometers and far more challenging than Bill had imagined. Unfortunately, he became dehydrated and exhausted. While descending, Bill accidentally injured himself, limiting his mobility, and returning to the starting point became impossible. Consequently, Bill may have been trapped in Smith's Canyon, but fortunately, there was water available to sustain him for a while. Meanwhile, search operations had begun, but initially, searchers focused their efforts near Kerry Castle. It was difficult for anyone to imagine that Bill was actually in Smith's Canyon, 67 kilometers away. Bill persevered in the valley for 2 days without rescue personnel reaching him. When he regained some strength, he decided to take matters into his own hands. With no signal in his current location, he planned to leave Smith's Canyon and head west. Among the missing individuals in Joshua Tree National Park, many have encountered unexpected situations. Paul Miller, 51 years old, went missing on July 13, 2018, and has not been found to this day. Solo exploration carries significant risks, and when incidents occur, individuals often have to rely on self-rescue, although there are cases of successful self-rescue. One well-known case occurred in 2003 when a man named Aaron Ralston ventured alone into the mountains of Utah. He encountered an accident while climbing and got his right arm trapped under a massive boulder, immobilizing him and cutting off communication with rescue teams. After struggling for 127 hours, Ralston made the difficult decision to amputate his arm to survive. Despite losing his arm, he ultimately succeeded in escaping. Ralston's story was later adapted into the film 127 Hours, which received numerous awards and brought awareness to the dangers of solo exploration. The film was released in November 2010, which was 6 months after Bill went missing. 12 years later, a woman named Mary and 4 friends went camping in Joshua Tree National Park. Seeking excitement, they decided to climb a mountain in the northwest part of the park that they had never visited before. It happened to be a mountain near Smithwater Canyon. In the evening, Mary arrived at the full moon circle, intending to camp there for the night. They started searching for a suitable camping spot, and while exploring, Mary unintentionally discovered something buried in the nearby sand. She approached, knelt down, and brushed away the sand, revealing a white bone. Initially, Mary thought it was the remains of an animal, but she called over her companions. Some of them believed it to be human bones. To confirm their suspicion, they continued digging at the site. Soon, more and more bones emerged. Alarmed, they promptly contacted the park authorities. The park management swiftly arrived at the scene and subsequently uncovered a backpack, car keys, and an old flip phone near the remains. Inside the backpack, there was a well-preserved driver's license. Upon closer inspection, a name was prominently printed on it. It was the person they had been searching for over the past 12 years. The driver's license read, Bill. Alva was his last name.
Subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon for the latest updates and notifications.